Welcome to Skinny Sports Bar and Grill, located at the corner of Huntoon and Gage here in the capital city of Kansas. As for the next hour, we are going to talk all things Washburn football with the Washburn Football Coaches Show here at Skinny Sports Bar and Grill. The Washburn Ichabods coming off of a wild and thrilling 38-31 win over the Missouri Western State Griffins in overtime in St. Joe. We'll recap that game today, also get some highlights of that. We'll preview the game because it's a big one coming up on Saturday for a lot of different reasons. One, it is the 118th meeting of the Turnpike Tussle. That is right, Washburn and Emporia State duking it out for the 118th time. It'll be at Yeager Stadium at 4 o'clock, 3:30 pregame coverage on your home for Washburn Athletics, Country 106.9, mycountry1069.com. So it should be a lot of fun. The 3-1 Ichabods taking on the 2-2 Emporia State Hornets, and it should be a dandy like they have been the last couple of games between Washburn and Emporia State. So a lot to get to here at Skinny Sports Bar and Grill. Coming out to Skinny Sports Bar and Grill tonight, Thursday Night Football. It is the Bengals versus the Dolphins coming out. We'll have giveaways here at Skinny Sports Bar and Grill. Don't forget, lunch tomorrow. Come out to Skinny's 11 to 2, Monday through Friday. It is the cheeseburger and fries. You can sub tots as well. $5.49. You cannot beat it here at Skinny Sports Bar and Grill. We're going to the bullpen. Head coach Craig Schurig not available today, so he sent a couple of his assistants. And one of the assistants, I told him he had to come because of what's going on Saturday. Saturday is Hall of Fame Day for the Washburn Ichabods. If you'd still like to go to the Hall of Fame brunch, that is going to be Saturday at 10 o'clock. You still can get tickets to that because we are honoring 6 different Washburn Ichabods who will be inducted into the 2022 Hall of Fame. And we're going to talk to one of them today. He is the former quarterback from 2008 to 2011, Dane Simedau, joining us. He's also the offensive line coach for the Washburn Ichabods. So, Dane, I'm sorry you had to come out and you had to do this because, one, we're going to talk about the offense because they're churning out some pretty good points, 38 against the Griffins, and we got to talk about you going into the Washburn Hall of Fame, so you basically had no choice. So we appreciate you coming out, and congrats on a big win.
Thank you. It's great to be here, Jake.
Do you want to talk about you first, or do you want to talk about the team? I'll let you have
Let's
that.
Go team. Let's go
team first. Okay. I figured that was going to be the case. So we will go team first. The Washburn Ichabods win 38-31 against Missouri Western in a game that was a fun one. Give me kind of your initial recap of that one.
Yeah, I thought they were a really tough team, to be honest. We knew going in that they were good offensively and defensively they were tough. And it kind of reminded us of our team. They were deep and they played a lot of guys and they were physical. We knew it was going to be a physical game, but overall, we made enough plays. We kind of stumbled in the red zone a couple times, but we had a lot of explosive plays that helped us out. And then the overtime, obviously, was fun scoring on that first play, and defense made a great stop to win the game. And with this group, kind of like last year, we just found a way to win.
When it comes to the ebbs and flows of a game, a lot of highs and a lot of lows. As a coach, how have you used your experience as a player to try to relate to your guys? Because you've been on that side. Now, for Coach Schurig, he hasn't been on that side for quite a while.
Right.
You're a little different. I mean, it's not like 2011 was an eternity ago.
Right.
So I'm curious how you use your experience as a quarterback coaching offensive line and coaching the offense.
Well, it's funny because it's a lot more stressful as a coach because you're kind of you don't have that control like a player does, but yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing is staying calm and staying positive on the sideline. Like in this conference, good things and bad things are going to happen. You just got to stay calm and move on to the next play and go out and make a play. And we preach that. And nobody panics. Nobody on this team panics. And when we're faced with adversity, we like I said, we don't panic and we go out and make a play.
The Ichabod's take the lead 14-3 in a terrific pass from Kellen Simoneau to J.J. Letcher, and you're going to probably hear me say that a bunch today because there was a couple of them. But you guys go up 14-3, and you're feeling pretty good. I do have to know about Kellen Simoneau as a quarterback. Do you help with the quarterbacks at all? Do you try to talk to Kellen a little bit because of your background? I know you're the offensive line coach, and you're trying to direct the big guys up front. But has he ever asked you or pick your brain a little bit?
Yeah.
Say, hey, Dane, do this. Hey, Dane, do that.
Yeah, he asked me every now and then what I think on certain situations or how we should attack this play. But most of the time, we're kind of split up individual stuff, and really we're all together during team. And obviously, I'm focused on O-line, but obviously Craig does a great job with the quarterbacks and Coach Schwinn as well, getting them coached up. But yeah, there's a few times they'll come to me and say, hey, do you see anything that I'm struggling with or I need to improve on? And I try to let them know, obviously, because I'm, watching the film too, and I take notes and kind of give them my input. So,
does it help that they're running the offense that you played in college?
Yeah, for sure. It's a lot of the same plays. We were a little less spread, maybe a lot more under center play action. I don't think the RPO was even invented then, but
it definitely was invented in my time then.
Right. But yeah, that definitely helps. And being in that offense, I'm able to maybe help him out a little bit. But he's a very talented kid, very smart kid, and he's got all the tools, and he's going to get better and better each game with experience.
You have the ball on the 1 yard line. You're driving 99 yards, but when you have the ball at the 1 yard line, it's 1st and 10 at your own 1. What's going on in your guys' mind to tell the players, because that's a dangerous situation being on the 1 yard line? What's being discussed as a coaching staff before that series starts? Because they have a great special teams play, ball's at the 1 yard line. The goal is just probably to get a first down to give Jenkins some time and some room to punt. But what's being discussed?
Yeah, we practice those backed up situations, and the goal is to get 2 first downs and flip the field, and at least 2 first downs, obviously. But you kind of go with your bread and butter plays and plays you feel comfortable with, and just try to execute. And we were able to do that. We were able to get out of our minus 1 yard line and move the ball and put together a good drive. And I don't think we finished it, but
that's gonna be my next question.
I know we had a couple opportunities in the red zone that we feel like we should have obviously capitalized on. But against good teams, that's going to happen. But we just got to focus on finishing.
We're talking with Dane Seminole, the offensive line coach for the Washburn Ichabod's, filling in for head coach Craig Sherg, who had a previous speaking engagement. So he decided to bring in the Washburn Hall of Fame quarterback, which we'll get to in just a little bit. So you're driving, you get down to the goal line. How do you keep them from not yell and scream and do all of that because they don't score? Because at that point in time, if you put 7 on the board, it's 21-3, and you feel real good about things.
Yeah, and especially as an O-line coach, you want to run the ball in if you're that close. And we didn't get the job done, but it's something to learn from. And we had a couple of mistakes, a couple of assignment errors, but hopefully we get those fixed going into next week. Because in this conference, you got to take advantage of those opportunities and execute and finish drives and put the ball in the end zone, because you might get away with it 1 or 2 times, but you're facing good teams week in and week out that can beat you if you don't execute.
The field goal before the half, how important was that to get those 3? And the 2-minute drill, boy, it worked really to perfection, it looked like.
Yeah, it was big. And like I said, it goes back to practice. We do it every Thursday, kind of back and forth with our defense of different situations, down 3 or down 7. But this is the end of the half, so we're just trying to get points up on the board. But I thought Kellen really did a good job this past game of finding the open guy, and our receivers did a good job of getting open, and we blocked long enough to to have good plays happen. So overall, it was good to finish the half like that. getting some momentum going into the second half.
The second half, they come out and they score. They punch it right away, and it's 17-17, and it feels like it's anybody's game at that point in time. And then you guys always stayed ahead of them. It just seemed like it always worked. And then you had a huge play, part of a flip the field type of thing, 59-yard drive. Talon Peters comes in. He gets 7 points. They answer again. Now it's back up tied at 24. And then J.J. Letcher, who has been outstanding. I mean, when you talk about it, at the end of this season, there's a good chance that he's not only number one in receptions in Washburn history, but number one in all-purpose yards in Washburn. He still has to have he's on pace for it right now.
Right.
I'll say that. He's on pace for it. The great Troy Slusser has the all-time all-purpose record. But Kellen finds a tremendous route by JJ. It looked like he got held, almost tackled, even though he's 5'7", weighs 150 pounds, fights it off, and ends up scoring in the end zone to go up 31-24. I thought that drive, that quick of a turnaround, 2 plays, 55 yards, symbolizes just how potent this offense can be.
Yeah, that was huge. It was huge to see. Like I said, Kellen made a great pass on that play, but JJ just fighting through that coverage, and he's so good when the ball's in the air. He can track it so well. He's just naturally gifted like that. We knew that matchup in the slot with him was going to be big, and we executed it well, and Kellen just gave him a chance and throw it out there. He's going to go find it, but he's a special player, and he's done some great things here, and we just got to find ways to keep getting him the ball.
Did you guys have like it's way back in the day? This is what it reminds me of, the Randy ratio. Remember, certain percentage of the balls have to go to Randy Moss. Yeah. It almost like you guys tried to find ways to get JJ the ball, and honestly, that's not a bad idea considering every time he touches it, something special can happen. Do you guys say, you know what, we haven't gotten JJ the ball enough, we got to find a way to get to him more?
We do. That's in our game plan every week. We try to get him 10 touches on offense a game, and whether that's jet sweeps or just bubbles in the flats or going deep with them. But when the ball's in his hands, usually good things happen, and we try to make that happen as much as possible. And you kind of got to get fancy sometimes because they're keying on him.
Mm-hmm.
So just moving them around with motions and just getting the ball out to him quick. But yeah, we game plan for that every week. How can we get him the ball 10 plus times,
especially now that no one's kicking to him?
Right.
That's a bummer situation for the Ichabod.
Right.
But also, what's wild about it is, and I was telling Fletch about this, is that, okay, I get it, you're not going to kick to him. Okay. Your average starting field position was almost the 40.
Yeah.
Okay, sometimes if I'm an opposing team, it's like, okay, look, guys, I get it. He could go the distance anytime he touches it, but you start at the 35 or 40 every time. I don't care. That's a good. That is essentially a 40-yard return that you're not even you're giving up. Like there comes a point where, all right, if I'm an opposing coach, I say we got to kick it to him.
Yeah, that's a huge advantage for our offense, getting the ball at the 40. But that's just how teams feel about him. They just don't want him to have a chance to break it. He's just so hard to break, hard to bring down, and he's just dangerous. So that's been the game plan our opponents have had going in, and hopefully they stay that way, because I'll take the ball at the 40 every time.
Overtime starts. As an offensive guy, how do you be patient? How do you make sure it's, because you don't want to just go for the end zone every single time, which credit, great play call. Everybody followed JJ and they handed off to Talon, and Talon, I think, goes untouched. Your offensive line just washed everybody down, and good kick out block. I want to say that was Andrew Funk.
Yep.
It was a wide open hole on the left side, and he goes into the end zone. How do you make sure that you don't try to gain all 25 yards in one play, despite the fact that you guys did?
Yeah, it was actually our pin pull play that we had success with, I think the previous drive or 2 drives before, with Hunter running down the sideline, and we felt comfortable with that play, and it was our best run play at the time, and just sending JJ in motion, got their safeties rolling, and backers bumped, and the play was actually supposed to hit more outside, but Talon made a nice cut, saw a huge gap, and O-line did a good job of blocking them up, and But yeah, that was nice. Nice. It relieved some stress going in, but just score on the first play. You should do that every time, right?
When the defense is on the field, normally you guys you're told, hey, you know what, stay on the bench. You got to sit. You need to gain your breath and try to rest up a little bit. But when you score in one play, were you guys up watching the game, or do you try to say, hey, this is we're still back on the sideline on the benches, got the whiteboard out? What did you guys do during overtime?
We did a few of the plays while our defense was out there, just talking about what we like, run game and pass game, and but after those couple of plays, we had a good idea what we wanted to run next, so everyone got up and watched the defense. We had confidence in them making a stop, and they did that. They did a great job of holding them because they had a good offense, man. They run the ball well, and that quarterback's tough. He's a dual threat guy and made some great passes. When they're earlier in the game that just dropped into the bucket, and even if we defended him well, he made some good passes. But we were ready to go back out there if we had to, but we didn't have to. Our defense did a great job.
It almost looked like, as coaches, because sometimes I like to watch the coaching staff in those type of situations. Every coach didn't celebrate for I want to say 4 or 5 seconds. Yeah. Because I know it's waving on the flag. Yeah. You were like, is there a flag? Is there a flag? Nothing. And then I don't know if I've seen Coach Schurig get that excited before. He started running around having a good old time, it looked like. But yeah, every one of you guys waited. We're like, are they going to throw it? Okay, no. And then everybody meet Christian Clark in the end zone.
Yeah, that was exactly my thought. I was waiting for the flag, and they didn't throw it. Christian made a great play. It was clean, just watching it on film, and the receiver almost pulled him a little bit, but he had great leverage, turned back for the ball, and made a great play on it. But that was exciting. It was a hard-fought win, and we'll take it on the road in this conference, any day.
And that's the thing. People don't realize how important one-score games are in this conference. Last year, you guys went 5-1 in one-score games. I don't count the Emporia game last year because you were down 35-14, right. And you had to battle all the way back. It wasn't a true one-score game, but one-score games, Central Missouri, that's a one-score game. You guys had to get some stops. You guys were up 40-32. That's a one-score game. Mo West, one-score game. Kearney, one-score game. You got to win the one-score games in this league, and if you do, you'll go to the playoffs. Just like last year, it seems like. And the team who's the best at one-score games has always been Northwest. They always seem to end up winning at the end. But one-score games, that is how you end up 9-2.
Yeah, it's something we preach. Just find a way to win. And this conference is so tough, and it would be nice to win a game by 3 or 4 touchdowns, but it just doesn't happen in this conference. It's just a dogfight week in and week out, and you just got to find a way to win. And our guys have done, for the most part, a good job of going out and making a play in a big situation.
We're talking about Dane Simedau. He's the offensive line coach for the Washburn Ichabods. He's filling in for head coach Craig Schurig. Coach Schurig had a previous speaking engagement, so he brought in his assistant coach, but he was kind of forced to come today because on Saturday it is the Washburn Hall of Fame ceremony. Washburn is going to be inducting 6 Hall of Famers, and Dane Seminole is going to be one of them. Dane, I'm sorry, but we are going to talk about you going into the Hall of Fame. Dane basically hates talking about himself as good as he was on the field. Good news is that I have to run off all your records, so it's going to be a while, so you won't have to talk a whole lot, so that works out well. Right. So we got a lot of records to talk about, both on the football side and on the baseball side. People forget Dane Simedau, one hell of a baseball player as well. We'll get a quick timeout. We'll come up and hear some highlights from the game, and then we'll talk about the best quarterback in Washburn history here on the Washburn Coaches Show. Yes.
Get what you want and pay over time.
That is some highlights from the game between Washburn and Missouri Western, as the Washburn Ichabods beat the Missouri Western State Griffins 38-31 in overtime to be 3-1 on the season. They take on Emporia State coming up on Saturday. It is the Turnpike Tussle, 4 o'clock with the kickoff. 3:30 pregame coverage right here on your home for Washburn Athletics Country 106.9. You can check it out, mycountry1069.com as well. It'll be at Yager Stadium. It's a great time. K-State kicks off early. KU kicks off at around 2. Perfect time to come on out to Yager Stadium to watch the 3-1 Ichabods take on Emporia State. But the reason the game is moved to 4 o'clock and not the traditional 1 o'clock is because we have Hall of Fame Saturday coming up. It is going to be at the Townside Tower downtown, and Washburn is going to induct 6 members to the Washburn Hall of Fame coming up on Saturday. And those 6 individuals will be Ron Mchenry, the former Washburn coach, all-time winningest coach in Washburn history, going into the Hall of Fame. Not a surprise. Ron Mchenry said, I do not want to be put into the Hall of Fame until I'm done coaching. Well, Coach, you're done coaching, so you go into the Hall of Fame. It is that simple. Also, the soccer pitch. How about Lisa Fahey, now Lisa Smith, All-American soccer player, also an academic All-American. On the volleyball side of things, Brianna Lewis, an All-American volleyball player, terrific career for Chris Herron. How about NAIA tennis standout Dana Backstrom? And unfortunately, Dana not with us. She passed away earlier this year, but we will honor Dana Backstrom being inducted. Was the first women's tennis player to make the NAIA championship tennis meet. That's an impressive effort. And we got Rich Hamilton, the former basketball All-American in the late 80s. He'll be inducted. So those are 5 of the Hall of Fame inductees. And then we've got to bring in the, he's the best quarterback in Washburn history. And the reason why I know that is because stats tell me he is Dane Simedau, who just so happens to be sitting right next to me. Dane got dragged here because we had to at least interview Dane because of 6 players being interviewed. We can't interview all of them at the half. So we decided to interview you right now, Dane. So congratulations, first of all, on making the Washburn Hall of Fame.
Thank you.
It is a tremendous honor.
Yeah.
So, all right, I have to run through this because I run through all the other, superlatives and awards and all of that. Lisa Fahey, terrific academic All-American, 2-time first-team academic All-American, all of that. So
I wasn't that.
You were not that, but that's okay. You made the academic honor roll, right? That's a good thing. All righty, here we go. Dane Simedau played from 2007 to 2011, where he started 42 games, and he had the most proficient passing career in Washburn history. The consensus All-American his senior year. You looked great, by the way, in the tuxedo at the Harlan Hill ceremony. The Harlan Hill is the D2 version of the Heisman. Well, he finished second in the award. He should have won the award. But he had 4,089 yards passing his senior year, 38 touchdowns, MIAA Offensive Player of the Year, as well as the Region Player of the Year. But how about his career numbers? He is 12th all-time in Division II history. That's right, only 11 other people have more passing yards than Dane Simedau, 11,291. He's 15th all-time in the touchdown charts. He threw 102 touchdowns. That is insane, folks. He has 35 Ichabod career season and single game records throwing the football, which is absolutely mind-boggling. But that's just in football. All right, now, Dan, I got to go to the baseball side of things. All right, baseball-wise for the Washburn Ichabods. He played and was first all-time in doubles, 4th all-time in at-bats, 6th in RBIs, 10th in hits, and you played shortstop. Folks, he's like 6'5", 220 pounds, and he's playing shortstop, so that's incredible there. All right, Dane, now that I got you blushing because you hate talking about yourself, this is a tremendous honor, and you were absolutely outstanding when it comes to the football side of things, but I want to know, you are playing at Salina Sacred Heart. You are a proud knight. Why did you come to Washburn? Why did you end up deciding, you know what, I'm going to come and play at Washburn? What made you decide that?
Yeah, honestly, it was down to a few schools. Hayes and a couple of JUCOs and South Dakota State, maybe walk on at K-State as well. But they allowed me to play both sports, and and I knew that it's been done here before because Sam Sisson, who got inducted last year in the Hall of Fame, he played football and baseball, so I knew it was possible. Some coaches might say, "Yeah, we'll let you do that," but I knew it was possible at Washburn, and then obviously the ties to Washburn as well. My dad played baseball here, and I had an uncle that lived here, so we were just familiar with the university, and then just meeting with Coach Sherrick and talked me into it. So,
well, we're all glad he
Yeah.
talked you into it. That's for sure. And I do know this, and you can brag a little bit because I mean, 102 touchdowns. Come on, man. When did you know you were good? When did you know that, you know what, I can throw this football? Like, when did you have? Okay, better question then, since you don't want to talk about that. When did the light bulb click? When you're like, I get it, I understand. It wasn't obviously your freshman year.
Right.
Was it your sophomore year, junior year? When did you just say, you know what, this game is easier now? I understand it.
It was probably after my sophomore year, and it took a while to get to learn the offense and feel comfortable with it. But really, that was after my third year. The first year, you're just kind of working scout team, and then I got kind of thrown in there about the sixth game of my freshman year, my redshirt freshman year, and won the job again going into my sophomore year, and put up some decent numbers sophomore year, and started to feel more and more comfortable, and that's a lot of it. It's just the experience and game reps, and I got a lot of them. I was able to, got the opportunity to start early, and I think that really helped.
What game stands out to you? Is there a game that you look back on and you go, wow, that was a fun moment? Or what game was it?
It was probably my senior year, the Pittsburgh State game on the road, and they were undefeated, and I think we had one loss going in. So it was a big game, and nobody picked us to win, and kind of went out there and put it to them, to be honest, and that was a lot of fun. You remember those memories of the big wins, and not necessarily the great performances, but the full team wins, and the celebrations after that.
Mm-hmm. Talking about Dane Simedau going into the Washburn Hall of Fame coming up on Saturday, and so the football side of things, a phenomenal career. But I got to know about baseball. It's a lot of people think of you in football, but you had a phenomenal baseball career. I have to know this: are you the biggest guy to lead a team in doubles? Because I look at you, Dane, and I'm not trying to be mean. I don't think of you as a speedster. Like you and JJ
No.
and Peter are not, synonymous.
Well, some of those probably should have been triples then, I'm guessing. But no, I was kind of like a gap hitter.
Okay.
I get under it every now and then, but I was more of a line drive in the gap, and we played in the big yard at home. So
At Valley, yeah.
Yep. So yeah, I don't know. I got the opportunity to play pretty early there too, so that obviously helped with numbers.
Shortstop or quarterback? What's tougher?
Quarterback is tougher than shortstop, but nothing's harder than hitting the baseball.
Oh, I agree with that. Yeah.
I'll stick with that. That's a tough thing to do.
Hitting a round object with a round bat.
Yep.
Yeah, that seems kind of difficult.
Yep.
Do you have a favorite baseball memory?
That one's a tough one. It's just baseball's fun. I really enjoyed baseball. It's tough to beat, obviously, a game day football Saturday, but baseball practice, we're a great time. It's kind of more relaxed, but I just remember the relationships. Really, it kind of sounds cliche, but I really do. I remember the relationships, and obviously the late great Coach Anson, and he was fun to be around, and I love both sports and didn't want to give one up, and like I said, that's why I came to Washburn, and they gave me the opportunity, and I'm very grateful for it.
Well, it's been a tremendous career, and I was joking with Gene Castle. I said, Gene, we got to just induct Dane all by himself. Like, he gets his own day. We'll call it like the Dane Seminole day. Would you be okay with that?
No, not
absolutely
at all.
not. Right? Yeah, I know. Well, Dane, it is, all jokes aside, it is a fantastic career, and once you were eligible, Gene said, well, yeah, he's going in first-year eligibility. So it's one of the things in baseball, well, he's a first-ballot Hall of Famer. Dane Simedau, first-ballot Hall of Famer. fantastic career, and now you get to lead the Ichabods in a different category on the coaching staff, which so far in your second year has gone by pretty good. So congrats on a tremendous honor going into the Washburn Hall of Fame.
Thank you. It's a great honor, and it's great to be here tonight, and appreciate you.
I got to ask one Emporia question. All right, how are we going to beat the Hornets?
They're a tough team. They really are. They're playing well on defense and offense, and it's going to take a full team effort, and you just got to execute and make some plays.
Well, hopefully we make a bunch of plays like you did in your career. Appreciate the time. Best of luck Saturday.
Thank you.
That is Dane Simedau, the quarterback and offensive line coach, Washburn Hall of Fame, and for football. Fantastic career for Dane Simedau. Coming up next, we're going to talk with the defensive coordinator for the Ichabod, Zach Watkins, and the head coach of the Washburn volleyball team going to stop by. We'll talk with Chris Herron as well here on the Washburn Coaches Show. Gauge here in the capital city of Kansas. We got Ichabod football Saturday against Emporia State, 4 o'clock kickoff, 3:30 pregame coverage here on your home for Washburn Athletics Country 106.9. And right now we bring in another Hall of Famer. He got inducted last year. He is linebacker, former linebacker, current defensive coordinator, part special teams coordinator as well. He is Zach Watkins joining us. And Zach, have you given any tips for Dane on your Hall of Fame speech and Hall of Fame Saturday, how you handle it? Since you did it last year.
No, Dane will do a great job, and obviously well deserved. But yeah, I told him his speech has to be over 10 minutes long. He said, "Yeah, no chance."
We don't need it to be 10 minutes long because there's an individual named Ron Mchenry there, and so Ron Mchenry will take care of everyone's time. I have mentioned to Coach Mchenry, Ron, we got to keep it to about 2 stories because otherwise we'll be at the Hall of Fame brunch for about 2.5 hours.
Yeah, when you've been around Washburn as long as some of us have, and especially Coach Mack has, as a player and a coach, and all the stuff he's been through, his kids coming through Washburn, he's got a lot to talk about.
He's got a lot to talk about. Yes, he does. We got a lot to talk about against a Missouri Western team that's a pretty darn good team, and their offense. That's a really good offensive line, and I don't care what it takes. It's hard to hold teams under 25 points these days. You guys held Kearney to 21 points. That is a phenomenal defensive effort. Really good defensive effort against the Nebraska. You hold them scoreless in the second half. That was incredible. Missouri Western, you guys had the lead, and when you've got a mobile quarterback who can throw it and everything, I know 31 points is too many in your mind, but I thought the defense stepped up and made some big plays when they mattered.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that we're doing this year a really good job of is complementary football. And Kearney, both sides, we didn't really do a good job of that on either side. And, we lost that game. But, the way the game is, it's more about points than it is yards. You're going to give up some yards.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to give up some things with how diverse offenses are now. But you're right. Points to us is all that matters. At the end of the game, we always talk to our defense about if we have one more point, we did our job. We won the game. You probably don't remember the scores of a lot of games, but you remember if you won or lost those games. So obviously that's what we're preaching. And this week will be another tough test with another good team coming in.
When the thing I want to talk to you, because there are a lot of big plays that happen during the game, but overtime. When you're the second team, Washburn gets the ball first. You never want to get the ball first. It's always a huge benefit to get it second because I don't know if people know this. It is hard to stop a team 4 times to get 10 yards, especially in overtime when you don't have to worry about field goals. You have to worry about punting or at the end of game situation where they have the football and they got 4 downs. I mean, gaining 10 yards in 4 downs, it's hard to stop that. So what do you tell your defense? Taylor Peters just runs for 25 yards in a blink. Now you guys are out there. What do you tell them on 1st and 10 and the overtime? Because you got to stop them on 4 downs.
Yeah, at the end of regulation, we brought the defense up on the sideline and just explained the situation. And we always work overtime throughout training camp, and Coach Herron does a good job of structuring practice during camp that we get overtime reps in. And so we were ready for it. We were prepared for it. We've done that a lot. And so we talked to the defense about, if we're up first or they're up first, here's a scenario. And then after we won or, we were on offense first, we brought the defense up and said, okay, listen, it depends on what they do. If they get 3, they get 7, they get 0, we'll see what we have to do. And once we scored on Taylor's run and we knew we had 7s, like, guys, they're going to go for it on 4th down. Obviously, they're going to, take a shot, or they're going to also got to get the ball in the end zone. And we gave up a 3rd down conversion, and then we got them to the 4th down and made a stop. And Christian made a great play in the end zone. And obviously, to win the game in that kind of fashion, you can storm the other team's field and you can celebrate with your guys in the end zone. It's pretty cool.
So they call timeout. They're 1 timeout of overtime. It's 4th and 8. What are you thinking they're going to do? What are you telling your guys? Hey, don't jump off sides. And what's the play call?
Yeah, so you always prepare for those situations. End of game, have to win or have to stop situations, and you also kind of learn what they did throughout the game. And that route that they ran hurt us in the game earlier. So we discussed that on the sideline of what play calls could be
So
bad.
you kind of knew that they were going to run the inside fade corner from the inside, like it's not inside slot, but the number 2 guy.
Yeah, so from game prep and watching what they've done in other games and how they attack you that specific game, and that route had hurt us in that game a couple times. And we didn't know that route was coming for sure, but hey, this is the route I think they're going to run, or this is what the play call might look like for them on offense. And so for us, we put our best guys in the field and our best personnel package, and we brought a little heat, blitzed them, and came after them in a quick throw. And Christian made a great play in the end zone, and it's fun to win the game at the end of the game because your defense is out there.
You decide to blitz. Most would say, no, let's drop in coverage. What's the philosophy in blitzing there on the most important down?
Yeah, Coach Sherrick's philosophy for our team is be aggressive. They're going to go for it on 4th down offense, and we're going to push the ball down the field, and we're going to bring pressure. And so, playing football, it's an aggressive game. And, if you're going to make a mistake or if you're going to make a bad play, do it being aggressive, not being passive. And so he's done a great job of putting that into our entire team, and that's kind of our defensive thought also is, and you can't always just blindly bring pressure, but kind of an educated guess during the game, what our coaches in the box see and what we're looking at, we decided to do it, and it worked out.
We're talking with Zach Watkins, defensive coordinator for the Washburn Ichabod's, as the Ichabod's gearing up for Emporia State. And I have to ask you about this Emporia State team. Emporia State runs a unique offense, and it's nothing. They are the only ones in the conference who runs this type of offense. It's a spread, but it's not a true spread because they throw it in a second and a half. I mean, everything's at the line of scrimmage. They don't have a 5-step drop. It seems like it's so quick, and so much of it is one-on-one. How do you prepare for that?
Yeah, it's very similar to Kearney. Not the offense, but just the way you have to prepare, because they're the only school that does it, and they're really good at it, and you've got a week to prepare for it. And so Kearney was kind of that way, and this will be the same way. So our scout team on offense did a great job this week. We did some up-tempo stuff, and their spacing and their splits are different than what we see throughout the week of normal games in the MIAA. And our scout team did a good job, and our coaches on defense, we did a great job of trying to structure practice in a way that can somewhat be harder or more faster or more tempo than the game actually will be. And so I think that the preparation for that is never what the game will actually be, but you can get yourself in a good position to combat that. And I think we did that this week, and our guys have had a good week of practice, and we've watched the film. And, but you're right, Emporia's a good team. Their keepers have problems. Their quarterback and their skill guys do a really good job in what they do. And I mean, it should be a really fun game on Saturday.
When it comes to the tempo, because they're going to start the game, if you guys kick off, and Cameron's probably going to kick it through the end zone because he kicks everything through the end zone. They snap the football, they'll run a run play, and then their next snap is 10 seconds. How do you handle that as a defensive lineman? DBs and linebackers have a little bit more of a acceptance of that. But those D linemen, that's brutal for those guys.
Yeah, just the kind of the small coaching points for each position. D line, make sure you find the ball. You can't make a tackle and then walk around and find the ball. And then DBs, make sure we are kind of umbrellaed in our coverage and make sure we get the call. And for a team like this, communication is obviously big because of how fast they go. And they're not just fast; they do a good job changing tempos and doing things to make you gotta kind of get off schedule a little bit. And our scout teams this week were able to simulate a couple huddles coming at one time to simulate how fast that goes. And was it perfect, and will it be as good as what Emporia does? Probably not, but at least I think our guys are prepared.
Is third down the biggest down here for them? Because they are really good at third down conversions. I mean, they convert 45%. Is that the key in this one? Because they do it so quickly. And, hey, if you do 3 plays and you're 3 and out and it only takes a minute off the clock and your defense is back out there, is third down maybe the most important aspect of this game?
Yeah, that's always the most important, but especially with this week, because it could be third and short, third and long, and it might be the same type of play call. So you have to be able, as a play caller and as a coach, to be able to understand that you might have to defend 4 downs, you might have to defend 4 downs quickly. And again, playing complementary football, where if Emporia's offense is out quick, our offense can sustain a drive. That's good for both sides. And so, we're really looking forward to the challenge on Saturday.
Always a fun time playing the Hornets. We appreciate the time. Best of luck on Saturday.
Thank you.
That is Zach Watkins, the defensive coordinator, dialing up a blitz there on the play of the game on 4th and 8 in overtime against Missouri Western. Coming up next, we're going to talk with the head coach of the Washburn volleyball team. The volleyball team went to the national championship game last year and graduated basically everybody. What do? Well, they start the season 12-2 and ranked in the top 10. What do we expect from Chris Herron and the Washburn volleyball team? That's high expectations, but he comes through. We'll talk a little Washburn volleyball to wrap up this edition of the Washburn Coaches Show. Welcome back for the final time here at Skinny Sports Bar and Grill for the Washburn Coaches Show. Coming out to Skinny's tonight, you've got Thursday Night Football, the Cincinnati Bengals hosting the Miami Dolphins, and then come out Saturday, 11 o'clock kickoff. K-State taking on Texas Tech. Come out here to Skinny Sports Bar and Grill. Watch the Cats take on the Red Raiders. Should be a lot of fun. And then head to the football game at 4 o'clock. But coming up tomorrow night, down at the Leggett and Platt Center in Joplin, Missouri, the 8th-ranked Washburn volleyball team will be taking on the Missouri Southern State Lions. And the Washburn volleyball team, they are 12-2 on the year. And why is that so impressive? Well, last year they made it all the way to the national championship game, and they graduated everybody but about 3 people. That was one of the best volleyball teams that Washburn has had in its career. And so you think, okay, you graduate that many people, well, maybe it's going to be a down year the next year. Not the case, not at Washburn Volleyball. They don't rebuild, they reload. They start out number 2 in the country, stayed at number 2 in the country for over a month and a half, right now 12-2, and they are a young group, but they are some impressive players. They take on Missouri Southern on Friday and then Pittsburgh State on Saturday. Their next home game, not for a while, it's October 7th against Missouri Western State. That is their next home game to get out to Lee Arena and cheer on Chris Herron, who is in his 21st year as the head coach of the Washburn volleyball team. And we had Hall of Famer Zach Watkins. We had a Hall of Famer now, Dane Simedau. Coach, I might as well tell you, can I introduce you as Hall of Fame, Chris Herron? Can I just go ahead and do that? Because you're the all-time winningest coach in Washburn volleyball history. I mean, you've done anything and everything. You're always ranked in the top 10. They might as well call you like top 10 Chris Herron. Can I just call you Hall of Fame head coach Chris Herron? Can I do that?
Jake, no.
I can't do that yet? Okay.
No,
All
yet.
right. Not yet.
Thank you, though.
Are you going to do the same thing as Ronnie Mack where, we can't induct you in the Hall of Fame until you're done?
I'm going to be honest with you. I've not even thought about that stuff. I don't. That doesn't enter my mind. So you're asking me that question. I like the first time I've ever been asked that question. So I don't know.
Well, all righty. Let's get to your volleyball team.
Okay.
12-2.
Yep.
Did you expect this from this group? Did you think that this young team would be this good this early?
No, not at all. I mean, when you lose every single starter everybody but one starter that you had.
Yeah, Jalen's pretty damn good.
Yeah, she's pretty good. But you lose all those kids, and not even just lose those kids, but lose the level of which those kids played for an extended period of time. We were talking about today. Last year, our 7 of our 8 kids that played were all conference, and 4 of them were all Americans. So that's just crazy. And so to have that kind of depth and that kind of talent was obviously special. So no, I did not expect this. And look, we're still morphing. We're just trying to figure it out because we're playing 2 freshmen on the right side, 2 freshman setters, sometimes a freshman in the middle, sometimes a freshman on the outside. I mean, so we, at time last week we played 6 freshmen, started for 6 freshmen. When I say started, because we're in a 6-2 system. So when you talk about 6-2 system, there's basically 10 players that play.
A bunch of subs.
Yeah, 6 of them are freshmen. So, yikes. Yeah, it's a little scary sometimes for me.
So what have they done in fall camp and now leading into match number 15? What's the biggest reason? Where have they improved the most, and where have they really grasped it?
Well, listen, I would tell you that Hallie Meister, who's been around here for 5 years now, and just was behind All-Americans, and just bided her time, and now she's getting to stand out, and she's hitting 415 or something like that for the year. She's having a great year. So our 2 right sides are really good players. Keely Kivenenemy and then Austin Brody are having really good years on the right side. And then Jalen's just a solid player. She's a 6 rotation kid, can pass, can play defense.
All the way around is tough.
Yeah, all the way around is tough. But to be honest with you, we're still trying to figure it out. And here's the great thing. The great thing about this group is that from top to bottom, it's closer. In other words, the top 7 last year were way up here, and then the rest of them were, there was a clear separation.
Mm-hmm.
That's not the way it is here now, and so we're pretty comfortable playing really 15, 16 kids, and we have, and we probably will continue to do so. So because we're just, we want to grow them, we want to have them develop just with game time experience, and so we're trying to give them as much as that as we possibly can.
Talking with Chris Herron, the Washburn volleyball coach. They're 12-2. They take on Missouri Southern and Pitt State this weekend. Leadership-wise, you had all sorts. I mean, everyone was a leader last year. Sometimes it's hard to find a leader to step in when everyone was a leader last year. Who stepped up this year?
Sid Pullen. Sid Pullen is, Sid's been a kid who's played DS for us the last couple of years behind Faith, and now she's our pro. She's the vocal leader. She's the emotional leader. Hallie is such a, even though she's been here 5 years, she's more like a mom. Everybody loves her. She's so happy and easy to get along with, and caring. So those two kids have really done a great job too. By the way, I want to give a shout out to my assistant coach who's here, Shayla Connor.
She was pretty good too.
She was okay. She was okay.
She was pretty good.
Yeah, she was okay. She practiced with us today, and so I'm sure she's a little bit sore today after practice is over with. So.
What's the strength of this team right now? I caught you in the hallway, and I asked you that early on this year. I said, what are you guys doing well? You said, Jake, we are serving and receiving excellent.
Yeah.
Is that still the case?
No. Thanks, Jake. I appreciate that. Yeah, we were. And but I think the biggest thing is that now they're, when you're playing in preseason, nobody has film on you. You just play. You show up and you play. Nobody knows anything about you. You walk in blind, and you don't have any idea what's going on. And that's the same way it is now. But now everybody's got film. And so now everybody's watching film and studying film. They know they're trying to pick on this rotation, do this, and this, that kind of thing. So even us, we break it down like that.
Yep.
So when you have film on you, and I tell our kids that now after preseason is over, the grind starts.
Yeah.
And we're in the middle of the grind. It's not a grind for just us. It's a grind for everybody. And so you've got to be able to expand your game because of everybody has film on you.
You take on Southern and Pittsburgh State. 2 games on the road. Got kind of a little 3-game road trip. What's the keys coming up for these 2 games on Friday and Saturday?
Jake, it's all coach cliches and all that other stuff, but it's always in this game about serve and pass. It just is. And as much as I like to give you just elaborate,
give you the reason for life and all that.
Right, yeah. It's just, can we pass it better than you? Can we serve it better than you? And then if everything is equal, then other things come into play. Is your setter as good as their setter? Are your hitters as good as their hitters? Do you block it better than they do? That kind of stuff. So right now, it just simply comes down to serve and pass, and it always does.
Well, you take on a Missouri Southern team on Friday at 6, and then you take on Pittsburgh State on Saturday. And then you'll be at the Washburn Hall of Fame. Your former middle hitter.
Yeah.
She was pretty good, first-team All-American. Bree Lewis going into the Washburn Hall of Fame. I know
I'm very excited for
very,
Bree.
very proud of Bree
and
definitely deserved as well. So I know that'll be a lot of fun having another one of your players be inducted into the Washburn Hall of Fame. Coach, thank you so much. You're 12-2, and let's keep the machine rolling. Best of luck this weekend.
Thanks, Jake. Appreciate you having me. Thank you.
That is Chris Herron, the Washburn volleyball coach in his 21st year. And this Washburn volleyball team got to be in the mix again. The regional that they're going to have again is just going to be an absolute monster, as it always is. But come on, watch the Washburn volleyball team. It's so much fun. Live volleyball, and really good live volleyball, is awesome to watch. October 7th, they take on Missouri Western. That'll do it for this edition of the Washburn Coaches Show. Coming up Saturday, 4 o'clock kickoff, 3:30 pregame coverage at Washburn taking on Emporia State. It should be a fantastic game. Get to Yager Stadium for that. So for studio producer Evan Davidson, want to thank Dane Simedau, Zach Watkins, and Chris Herron. I'm Jacob Vaughn saying so long from Skinny's Sports Bar and Grill.